Alright, man, I did not want to make this video, considering that I am an insane Portland Trailblazers fan. I am a diehard Portland Trailblazers fan, and this video is going to be very sad to make. So let's cue the intro. So, Damian Lillard, as you guys know, has had a very successful career with the Portland Trailblazers. Now, he got drafted by them in 2012 with the hopes of a star caliber point guard, and he has become that type of player. But the sad part is they have never made an NBA Finals, and usually when they go to the playoffs, they are usually a first or second round exit. Now, they have made the Western Conference Finals once in that time frame. Now, I've seen tons of videos in the last 24 hours about the Portland Trailblazers not having a bright future, and I think the critics are correct. Now, even though I am a diehard Portland Trailblazers fan, this has just been a reoccurring story every single season. Now, there has been some rumors, according to Chris Haynes, that the Portland Trailblazers may look to trade Damian Lillard this offseason. Now, of course, I do not want that to happen because I love Damian Lillard, but it might be very, very realistic. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen. If he were to get traded, it would probably be next offseason because I think he's going to give it one more shot with Portland. I mean, the first thing they need to do is fire Terry Stotts. Now, Terry Stotts is a great coach, but he just does not coach in the way the Portland Trailblazers need to be coached. He countless times has ruined rebuilds that they have tried to have, and he always tries to get them to the playoffs, but a semi-rebuild, I think, would be nice for the Blazers, and then in a few years, he and the Blazers could win a chip. Now, of course, my first question from the top as a Portland Trailblazers fan is, who would the Portland Trailblazers trade for Damian Lillard? Now, they could go out to a rebuilding team and ask for picks, but that does not seem likely considering that Neil Olshey wants the Portland Trailblazers to win now. But, of course, if they trade away Damian Lillard, they're going into full rebuild mode. Now, if they traded Damian Lillard to a team like the Boston Celtics, they could get something okay in return. Like, they might even be able to snag Jaylen Brown or one of their core young pieces. But sometimes, and I am very hopeful for this, that sometimes these NBA trade scenarios are just rumors and they never happen. I have explained this in videos tons and tons of times before, and I think this might be one of those cases with Damian Lillard, although he did say that he wouldn't have a problem with getting traded, but just he would like to stay in Portland, according to Chris Haynes at Yahoo Sports. Now, the Portland Trailblazers have been struggling a lot this season, considering they lost 5 games in a row recently, but they picked it back up and they won 4 games in a row, actually, but then they lost one last night versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, their next game is going to be versus the Cleveland Cavaliers today at 4:30 p.m. So I would expect the Portland Trailblazers to run out of the gate and destroy the Cleveland Cavaliers, considering the Cavs are one of the worst teams in the league. Now, the only scenario where I see Dame staying with the Portland Trailblazers is if they became a top 4 seed in the next 2 years. Trailblazers in one of those years, which I don't know if it will happen. The Western Conference is very competitive right now. As you know, the Western Conference has always been competitive, but Damian Lillard always comes out with the mentality saying, well, the Western Conference is a tough conference to play in, but this is the conference we've always played in. So if the Portland Trailblazers do not start winning now, they're in serious trouble, because if they don't pull off an upset in the NBA playoffs this season, right now, they will have to do a few things. Number one, they will have to fire Coach Terry Stotts. Terry Stotts is not the coach for the Portland Trailblazers. Now, they should also have Neil Olshey resign and have a new owner. I mean, it's his choice if he resigns or not. But they should get a new owner, because he and Jody Allen have just not been able to tread the waters. And they're going to need a general manager instead of Jody Allen, who does not have any experience whatsoever with basketball front office social development. They should get a new general manager, not named Jody Allen. And then they should go sign a great new player this offseason. And if they do that, that would encourage Dame to stay. Also considering that Norman Powell is going to leave the Portland Trailblazers this offseason. So they're going to need a new young bull who is able to score the ball, pass the ball. Preferably it wouldn't be a guard. Preferably it would be a forward, like a LeBron James type, except clearly not as good as LeBron James. Now, a player they would look for to pair with Dame and CJ would actually be someone like Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, Bojan is a very talented scorer and three-point shooter, and if they got someone like that, like a guy that averages 18 points a game, is a knockdown three-point shooter, a forward, then that could replace Gary Trent Jr., because I don't know why the Portland Trailblazers traded Gary Trent Jr. It was one of the dumbest moves the Portland Trailblazers have made to get Norman Powell. But yeah, they're going to need a solid three-point shooting forward to replace Gary Trent Jr. So yeah, they're going to need a great player. So the Portland Trailblazers' future does not look bright. It actually looks quite grim at this point. And they were arguably more better when they were not healthy. Our fans are always saying, well, we'd be a team that is on the rise, a contender, if Nurkic and McCollum and everyone was healthy, but they were winning more games without Nurkic, without Zach Collins. And now when you bring one or two of those guys back, they start losing games. Part of it is the Portland Trailblazers do have a very tough schedule, and the Western Conference is really, really, really good. But they should at least win about 4 or 5 out of their last 6 games, so that way they can actually try and contend. And I haven't even mentioned how CJ McCollum's contract is not the best contract in the NBA. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Click subscribe to turn notifications on, like, share, comment, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm your boy, Hyper Basketball, and we're out.